There to actually work with women to make better bats and to actually make them for their style. So recently I was commissioned to make 5 cricket bats for the Pascoe Vale Headfield Cricket Club for their under-13s girls cricket team. And yeah, to see their faces when they were given the cricket bats was just brilliant. So what I'd really love to be able to do is to keep working with my local community, the local cricket clubs, particularly the women, and yeah, work to make great cricket bats.
My name's Leslie. I have been with Moreland Family Daycare as an educator for over 36 years, I think. Family Daycare is a wonderful organisation. We look after children in our own home, they blend in with the family, and it's fantastic.
I love Family Daycare.
I can choose my own hours, very flexible. I've made wonderful friendships with lots of the families. I'm now looking after children of the children I used to care for. The children just growing and developing is a wonderful, wonderful experience for me every day. I'd recommend Family Daycare to anybody and everybody. Oh, where's my Scouty snuggle? Where's my Scouty snuggle? Can I have a Scouty snuggle? How's your tea party going?
My name's Hilary. I've been with Moreland Family Daycare for 8 months now and I absolutely love it. The main reason I started with Family Daycare was to be with my little one. Family Daycare is a small environment, so mostly I only have 4 children and it's in a home. Moreland have been really supportive of the whole thing and they helped me find children when I first started. There's so many benefits of working Family Daycare and becoming an educator. Working in your own home, flexible hours, also just watching the other children grow and being such a part of their life. I recommend to educators that want a good life balance if they have their own child. Family Daycare is a great avenue to go down.
Hey Moreland, today I'm down in St Kilda for the Midsummer Pride March supporting the LGBTQ community. It's a beautiful day. I'm proud to be here representing Moreland, walking behind so many wonderful dedicated people. This march goes towards exactly what our values are. At Moreland, we're one community proudly diverse.
More pride! More pride! More pride!
More pride! More pride! More pride!
G'day guys, my name's Chris. I'm here from Moreland City Council just to show you a bit about this tractor and how it works and what we do and how we get around and cut all the grass on the ovals. How's that? Is that better? You want to play tag with the tractor? Your teachers will find it. Thank you very much.
Goodbye! There he goes, through the gate. In 2009, Council began research and consultation to identify the key challenges in sport for women and girls within Moreland.
The review identified several issues.
There was a serious lack of female competition and teams.
Only 8% of participants using council sports grounds were female.
To address this inequality, Council introduced a policy to encourage clubs to be more inclusive of women, juniors, people with a disability and people from culturally diverse communities, or risk losing an allocation of a ground to a club that is being inclusive.
Female participation has now increased by 161% in Moreland.
West Coburg Football Club is proud to align with Moreland's policy.
This year we successfully launched the club's first ever under-12 girls footy team.
We're changing our club.
We're changing our culture.
I'm changing the game.
So I'm Claire Johnston and I'm an accredited cricket bat maker and the first female in the world. I learnt how to make cricket bats from Ian Cullen.
Marina Di Lorenzo, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Moreland City Council, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you here to tonight's ceremonial meeting. Members of the gallery, you're so welcome here tonight, and love to advise you that we're recording and live streaming tonight's meeting on Council's website and Facebook. This recording will also be available as video on demand, so please be advised that we'll be recording through the meeting. So to begin with, we'd like to nominate an interim chairperson. Can I call for a nominee?
I nominate the current Mayor, Councillor John Kavanagh.
Councillor Kavanagh nominated. All those in favour? I declare Councillor Kavanagh interim chairperson.
Thank you, Narina. I acknowledge that this ceremonial meeting tonight is being held on the lands of the Wurundjeri, and I wish to acknowledge them as traditional owners of the land. I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and I acknowledge that many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have made Moreland home, and in doing so have contributed to the rich diversity of this municipality. We also have some special guests that I'd like to acknowledge. We have Dr. Samantha Ratnam, MLC, Victorian Greens leader and former Moreland Mayor, and we have some other former mayors here too, Stella Karafalides, Joe Picara, and Mark Higginbotham. Thank you for joining us. We also have the Victoria Police, Moreland Local Area Commander, Inspector Brian Matthews, the Chief Executive Officer of Ceres, Cinnamon Evans, the Chair of the Cemeteries Trust, Jeff Mablett, and CEO Operations Manager Garabeth Abbott, Friends of Many Ponds Creek Secretary Kay Oddie. We have members of the Faulkner Bowling Club here. It's lovely to have you here. Members of Moreland Rotary, other community groups and family members. Welcome to you all to this ceremonial meeting. The councillors in attendance tonight, starting from my far right, Councillor Natalie Abood, Councillor Sue Bolton, Councillor Anna-Olivia Carley-Hannon, Councillor Helen Davidson, Councillor Jess Dorney, Councillor Ali O'Farnley, Councillor Dale Martin, Councillor Mark Riley, Councillor Lambros Tapanos and Councillor Oscar Yildiz. Officers in attendance, you've already heard from the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Marina Di Lorenzo. We have Acting Director of Corporate Services, Liz Rowland, Director of City Infrastructure, Grant Thorne, Director of Social Development, Arden Joseph, Acting Director of Planning and Economic Development, Sue Bidgepick, Executive Manager of Organisational Development, Anita Caven, Manager of Property and Governance, Olivia Wright, and Unit Manager of Governance, Sally Curran. Councillors, I think we're all in attendance, so there's no apologies tonight. I gather are there any conflicts of interest? I assume not. So we move to the election in accordance with meeting procedure, local law. I call now on the Chief Executive Officer to preside over the election of Mayor for 2018 and 2019.
Thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. Councillors, I'd like to now call for nominations for the position of Mayor for the 2018-19 mayoral year.
I would like to nominate Councillor Natalie Abood.
So Councillor Kavanagh has nominated Councillor Natalie Abood. Councillor Abood, would you accept the nomination? Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Sue Bolton.
Councillor Tapanos has nominated Councillor Bolton. Councillor Bolton, will you accept the nomination? No? Okay. Are there any other nominations? Given that there are no further nominations and the nominations are closed and there is one candidate, it is my pleasure to declare Councillor Natalie Abood duly elected as Mayor of Moreland City Council for the 2018-19 mayoral year. Congratulations. I would now like to invite our new Mayor to receive the mayoral chains, to take her place as Chair and to make the ceremonial mayoral speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of Moreland.
just like that. Good evening, everyone. Distinguished guests, welcome, and welcome to all of you, including my family, the Moreland Executive Group, council officers, citizens, community activists, and visitors to Moreland this evening. Wurundjeri land extends from the Great Dividing Range in the north to Mordialloc Creek in the south, from Mount Baw Baw in the east to the Werribee River in the west. Flip that. It covers a diverse range of country, including mountains, grassy plains, waterways and the coast. Wurundjeri people have been here for tens of thousands of years. The land was taken from them without their consent, without treaty or compensation. I would like to acknowledge that we meet on the lands of the Wurundjeri of the Great Kulin Nation and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to welcome other mobs and other elders who may be here with us today. Being elected mayor is a great privilege. It is also a great honour and a great responsibility. I thank my fellow councillors for trusting me with this role. I commit myself to serving the people of Moreland to the best of my ability, with energy, pride, commitment and integrity, while acknowledging that I represent the collective viewpoint of our 11 elected councillors. This group of councillors was tasked with the job of reinventing the way a council can work as a team. We have done this with great results, and I will strive to maintain that cohesion between us all as we work towards achieving the aspirations of our community. I acknowledge the combined efforts of this group of councillors and those councillors who've come before us to help make Moreland what it is today. I would now like to acknowledge and thank our outgoing Mayor, Councillor John Kavanagh. In this, his second term as Mayor, John has brought renewed energy and enthusiasm to the position. He has been a valuable role model and mentor. What I have learnt from John has formed part of a unique set of skills that I wouldn't have gained anywhere else. Thank you, John. It is also a credit to this group of councillors that John has been given the space to be the best mayor that he can be. About to enter his 15th year as a councillor, John carries the pride of his family's long history in Victorian politics close to his heart, and he wears it on his sleeve. As a great storyteller, his history, especially where it is woven through the history of our city, has been an important part of his public life. I remember the moment at the 2017 mayoral election when he told us that his mother believed that the political process gave ordinary people the ability to improve the lot of others. John told us that his mother found it difficult to understand those who would disengage with the political process. This resonates greatly with me because I also grew up in a politically aware environment. My mother was engaged with the political process, and this is the bedrock of my beliefs. I grew up in a single-parent family, my mum, my sister and me. Political activism was normal. Attending demonstrations against uranium mining or the dramming of the Franklin was normal. Having these things as normal taught me to fight for what I value. Rather than fear other cultures, I learnt to embrace other cultures. Rather than resent bad government policies, I learnt to strive to change those policies. I also learnt that different didn't mean weird or wrong. Differences were acceptable, and differences are where the value is in society. Moreland is one community, proudly diverse, the People's Republic. We all matter, all of us. These values contributed to the fact that I ended up married to the youngest son of Lebanese migrants. The riches that this has brought every aspect of my life cannot be measured. Mum, Tez, Mally, Patch, Percy, Auntie Mad, Tata, Jidi, Joseph and I, and everything that we do happens through your love, guidance and support. Speaking of love and support, Joseph, what more can I say? I'd give you my hanky, but it's already sodden. He's got one, he's fine. Thank you, darling, I love you. To the Greens in the room, this wouldn't have happened without you. It's a long road, but we've got sturdy shoes on. To the 3GC, this council is already halfway through its 4-year term, and we are well underway in delivering the council plan, which has 3 pillars. Firstly, we want to be a connected community. We want Moreland to continue to be socially cohesive and inclusive, and want to make sure that no section of the community is left behind as we grow. Secondly, we want a progressive city, one that is affordable and sustainable by making sure that development is appropriate and that our physical environment supports a healthy life. Thirdly, we want to be a responsible council that delivers great customer service to you and looks after the community's assets and resources, from roads to libraries to pools. Within these larger goals, there are a number of key things we want to achieve. We want to be better at engaging with you and consulting with you on changes in the city before we make final decisions. At last month's council meeting, we endorsed a new engagement policy and framework that we believe will see your views, needs and wishes reflected in council actions better than ever before. Over the past few years, we have increased the amount of open space in the municipality using a formula to determine where it is needed most based on increasing population and existing open space. In the past few months, key parcels of land in our green corridors and waterways have been acquired by council. We have been greatly assisted in this endeavour by community campaigns to keep this land public open space. We want to manage the impact of development better, taking into account what greater densification means for whole neighbourhoods, not just immediate areas. One of those impacts we as a council do have control over is parking. We have recently consulted with the community on groundbreaking policy to ease car growth by new citizens moving into Moreland in the future. If this policy is adopted, we will allow developments to be built without car parks, but will not grant on-street parking permits to those new residents. We don't want the coming population growth to automatically lead to car growth, and we think that limiting this for new buyers will allow them to make a conscious choice to reduce car ownership. We believe that these kind of watershed changes to the way that we live in our city will protect the quality of life we want to enjoy in the future. Of course, Moreland doesn't exist in isolation. We are affected by the same issues that are impacting on major cities around the globe. Population growth in our municipality is speeding up and our land value is increasing commensurately. The Melbourne CBD and a 5-kilometre radius around the city is home to the vast majority of employment opportunities in the state. At the same time, Melbourne's transport system is becoming more congested. These two factors combined mean even more people will want to make their home in Moreland. The latest demographic data shows that our population will increase by 66,000 people by 2036, which is more than a third of our current population. Our role in guiding and shaping development has never been more important than it is right now. We know that many of our citizens simply don't want development. We also know that Melbourne cannot endlessly expand into the hinterland and that state governments of all political complexions will demand greater urban density, particularly adjacent to the CBD. We are saying loudly to the state government that what we want to see is appropriate and quality development. We have not been able to secure the mandatory height limits we tried so hard to convince the state government to grant us in our major activity centres in Brunswick and Coburg, but we have been successful in securing them for our neighbourhood centres. We will continue to do everything we can to make sure future development in Moreland is appropriate and sustainable. We are also acutely aware that more housing doesn't mean that the private market is providing affordable housing to low-income earners. In fact, we know that affordable housing is scarce. This is why we have established the Moreland Affordable Housing Limited to facilitate partnerships with progressive investors and council to provide affordable rental accommodation into the future. We also urge the state government to do more to ensure that there is affordable housing, to protect existing public housing and to provide more public housing to meet the needs of our growing communities. We are delighted that after more than a decade of campaigning, we have a commitment from the current state government to remove 4 level crossings on the Upfield line, including the Bell Street crossing. This is also a great step forward towards a whole-of-line solution, but we must continue to advocate for level crossing removal on the whole of the Upfield line. We will, of course, be watching the outcome of the imminent state election with great interest for this and a range of other project and policy implications. We have also campaigned hard to get support from the state and federal government for the construction of the new community hub in Glenroy. It will include a new library, community spaces, early years services, as well as health providers and open space. We have been lobbying hard through our Give Glenroy a Go campaign to secure financial support for the project. We have a commitment from federal Labor for $6 million should they win next year's election, and so far the state government has committed $750,000 to help fund the library and $1.6 million towards early years services at the site. We are seeking a total of $6 million from the state government to match the federal election commitment, and we hope to see further funding commitments made soon. We hope to commence construction next year for this much-needed community resource in one of our fastest-growing suburbs. There are many things that we have achieved without assistance from other tiers of government. The biggest infrastructure project in Moreland's history, the redevelopment of the Oak Park Pool, opened only today to the public, and was entirely funded by the Moreland community. We have also committed a 20-year strategy to keep our 6 pools open, with a plan to pay for them. In the past year alone, we have redeveloped several parks. The much-loved Merlinston Hall has received a complete overhaul, and we have a brand new skate park in Glenroy and more places in early education thanks to the brand new Coburg Children's Centre. In fact, so far this term, we have created 57 additional childcare places and 83 additional kinder spaces across a range of facilities. We now have more female-friendly change rooms than ever at our sports club, with more to come, and the Oxygen Youth Centre has doubled in size. We also broke ground on the Melbourne Renewable Energy Project wind farm, an Australian-first partnership between both public and private sector organisations, and the recipient of the Premier's Award. That wasn't very good grammar, wasn't it? That project just won the Premier's Sustainability Award. Very impressive. And closer to home, we've supported the Moreland Toy Library to expand further north and serve more members of our community. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit as well, stuff that I'm really proud of. There's bubblers around, there's a new toilet block in the Coburg Mall, there's just a lot of trees being planted all over the place, and it's just the little, what Narina would refer to as the low-hanging fruit, the little wins. So, what's to come in my mayoral term? If there is a theme to the big things we are planning for Moreland in the next year, it's working with the community to achieve really significant change in the way people in our city get around, how we consume energy and how we deal with waste. We want to help the community members become more energy self-sufficient and reduce their own carbon footprint by the transport decisions they make. We want our citizens to really think about traditional private car ownership and to walk, ride and use public transport more. And we are improving our bike and footpaths and local roads to help them do this. We will also be rolling out an ambitious zero waste strategy to eliminate landfill by 2030. This will mean big changes in the way we all go about our daily lives. We have been at the forefront of advocating for gambling reform in this state. The loss from poker machines in Moreland is staggering, and the economic and social damage occurring in our community must stop. It is by working together that we can and will make an enormous difference, and we will continue to advocate in the interests of our community on this issue. We are determined to get the new Coburg Square development off the ground next year. We have a shining opportunity to build a new community and commercial hub in central Coburg, with the added benefit of dovetailing our designs with the new level crossing removal works to produce an integrated and beautiful outcome for generations to come. One way or another, we will build the new Wheatsheaf hub at Glenroy and hope to turn the first sod next year. We will also need to determine the best way for Moreland to continue supporting our community after the federal government changes to aged care funding come into effect. I am really looking forward to getting out into the community to meet you, although I do feel like I know most of the room, so that's very good. Please make sure you tune into our council meetings online to see us debate and make decisions on behalf of the city each month. Moreland is a great city. We know this. We also know that there are things that can be done to make it even better. Our challenge is to maintain the best aspects of our heritage while enhancing Moreland as a place to live and work safely and sustainably. I am looking forward to the challenge, and I'm looking forward to working with my fellow councillors and council staff to deliver the best outcomes for you in the community. Thank you. Councillors, Council's Meeting Procedure Local Law 2018 allows for Council to determine to have the position of Deputy Mayor for the same term as the Mayor. Do I have a motion to establish the role of Deputy Mayor for the 2018-19 mayoral year?
I'm happy to move that.
Councillor Kavanagh? And the seconder? Councillor Martin? I'll put that to the vote. And declare that carried. So now I have to hand back to you, Narina. Thank you.
Thank you. In accordance with the Meeting Procedure Local Law, I'll now be running the election for the Deputy Mayor for 2018-19. So, councillors, I'd like to call for nominations for the position of Deputy Mayor. Councillor Aboud.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Mark Riley.
So Councillor Aboud has nominated Councillor Riley. Councillor Riley, do you accept the nomination? Are there any other nominations? No. If there are no nominations, I declare them closed. As there is one nomination, I declare Councillor Mark Riley duly elected as Deputy Mayor of Moreland City Council for the 2018-19 mayoral year. Congratulations, Councillor Riley. I'd now like to hand you back to our freshly minted Mayor to complete the evening.
Thank you, Narina. I would like to make a presentation to Councillor John Kavanagh, the outgoing Mayor, and thank him for his term as Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. Would you like to say a few words?
I would like to say a few words, but I am conscious that this night is for Councillor Aboud and for Councillor Riley, as it should be. However, I just want to thank some people. Firstly, I'd like to thank my wife, Margarita. You now have a bunch of flowers tonight too, Margarita, so that's good. I know the role of Lady Mayoress is not a modern term, but Margarita has accompanied me to many functions throughout the year, and you've represented Moreland magnificently at all those, so thank you very much for your support and your representation there, Margarita. Can I thank my executive assistant, Jen? Thank you for a wonderful year, Jen, and for your deep friendship. You really are a gem, and I'm really appreciative of all your work. Thank you so much, Jen. To Marco and to Tara in our communications department, I want to thank them very much for their excellent and wise counsel throughout the year. I'm deeply appreciative to them. To our CEO, Dr. Narina De Lorenzo, for her extraordinary leadership. I'm very grateful for that. I'm also extremely pleased that during my mayoral term, we were able to secure Narina to Moreland to January 2023, and I think that's an outstanding result for Moreland. I want to thank my fellow councillors very sincerely for the excellent way in which you have represented our community over the last 12 months. I've been on 4 councils, and I can clearly say this is the best that I've been on. We've got 11 people who are deeply committed to the community and really doing a magnificent job. It's really made the job very easy. And to the incoming Mayor, Councillor Aboud, who was previously my Deputy Mayor, I'm so pleased that you've gained this position tonight. I think it's a really wonderful. And when you think that the Mayor before me was Councillor Davidson and then Councillor Aboud following me, it's just really wonderful. So thank you very much indeed. Congratulations, and what a wonderful beginning tonight with an excellent address. Thank you so much, Councillor Aboud. When I was last Mayor, I started a tradition, I think, that the outgoing Mayor would leave a letter on their desk to the incoming Mayor, and I have done that, Councillor Aboud, so there's some thoughts there and some reflections on the year that I hope will help you, and it's on your desk, which is in the mayoral office. So enjoy that, and I hope there's some reflections there for you. I've just absolutely loved the last 12 months. It's been an enormous privilege. This role that I enjoyed allowed you to see people, the People's Republic of Moreland, and the people at their best, their absolute best. It's been an entire privilege. I'm sure that you, Councillor Abood, will savour moments at the end of your term like I have, as you pass on the baton in 12 months' time. And you, like me, will have memories that will sustain you for a lifetime. My deep and abiding faith, thanks to my fellow councillors, first of all to electing me to this position 12 months ago, but also for your unwavering support over the last 12 months. Can I say, you mentioned my late mother. My late mother used to always say, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I feel that debt. I feel the debt because I have been given so much in my life, and I hope that over the last 12 months I've managed to repay just part of that debt that I owed to those around me. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Councillor Kavanagh. So, that's the end of all of that. And I can now declare this council meeting closed and invite everyone to come and join us for some refreshments in the back of the room. Thank you.
Oh,